Welcome back to BadgerBlitz TV, your Rivals.com destination for all things Wisconsin athletics. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by my good friend, Rivals.com national analyst Clint Cosgrove. Like we always say, buddy, it's the best time of the week.
Best time of the week. Let's go, Perko. Let's be awesome today, man.
Let's be awesome today. We've always got awesome questions from our friends in the Badger Den. Over at BadgerBlitz.com. So we're going to answer a couple of these today. First one comes from Ducky. He wants to know, or she wants to know, when judging offensive line recruits, how do you project someone as a center?
Yeah, no, center's a very interesting position, and there is a lot of projecting that goes into it because you don't get a lot of like true centers coming out of high school. A lot of the times they're your most athletic offensive linemen. And so they're playing on the edge, even if their body type doesn't have the typical length of what you'd expect from a college center. Sometimes they're shorter guys. They're just the most athletic ones. So not a lot of true centers. So you're doing a lot of projecting, and that comes with body mechanics. So across the offensive line, obviously looking for certain attributes regardless of position, toughness, bend, twitch, power, punch. You want a violent guy, lateral movement, ankle flexion, body control, ability to block in space. So all of those things are going to be across the board. Now, center does have a very specific skill set. And like I said, and that's where the projection comes in, not to try to, the true centers. They're usually your most athletic guys. First and foremost, you got to be a smart player. It's kind of like the quarterback of the offensive line. They have to be great communicators, not only with the quarterback, but the other offensive linemen. A lot of times they're calling out protections. They have to know scheme. They have to understand where pressure can come from. They're calling out the shots a lot of the time for the offensive line. At some schools, they'll even be identifying the mic. They're almost the quarterback in many cases. Now, and then you get into the body mechanics. You got to have great bend. You got to have great twitch. You got to have that great punch again. You have to seamlessly be able to go from snapping a ball to engaging a defender all in one movement. If you have great bend, have great ankle flexion, that gives you some leeway because you're able to absorb that blow without getting punched into the backfield because there is no time for transition. You don't get to snap the ball. Okay, now I'm going to get ready and then either, pass set or attack somebody. If you do that, your butt's in the backfield already. The play's blown up. All right. So you've got to be very seamless in your movements, very fluid. And again, it comes back to twitch and punch. And obviously, I talked about the ankle flexion and bend. That gives you a better chance to overcome any missteps in that part of your game. Now, strength, and this is not only your lowers and your uppers and your punch. A lot of people think bench press at the combine is like the guy who benches the most is going to be the one who can be the best center or something like that. Not necessarily the case. That core strength and just really full body strength is huge. And it goes back to doing that seamless transition from, snapping the ball to engaging a defender. You got to be able to anchor down against a big 330-pound defensive tackle. And like I said, if you're not making that flawless transition, you're in the backfield, you got no chance. So you got to be able to anchor down, play with a great base. You got to be able to absorb a blow. If it is, especially a drop back situation or a third down situation, sometimes you're going to, use different, tools in your pass rush, defensive pass rush. It's almost like being a defensive back. It's one of the only positions, especially in pass downs, where you're reacting to the defenders. So you got to be able to anchor down against a big defensive tackle. You got to be able to deliver a blow in the run game. There's no time for that transition. So as soon as you snap, you're punching, and then you got to be a great athlete. You got to have that great body control again, but you got to have the athleticism. A center can be asked to pull. They can be asked to work a double team and work to the second level. They have to have great lateral quickness in a restricted space, especially in the pass block. But then, what other position is asking a guy to not only snap the ball, and then also they just go from identifying a defense to snapping the ball. They could be in a loud environment. They have to be unflappable. They have to be tough. You don't get a play off. You got to have a short memory if you screw up. And it's similar to defensive backfield in that sense. You got to be a great technician. Offensive line, I love offensive line play. It's probably the only position I don't feel like I could coach. There's so many intricacies to it. It's beautiful. It really is. Offensive line coaches they need to be one of your best coaches. Same with secondary coaches. There's so much technique that goes into being a great player. And, center, it's just, you got to be the complete package. And the good thing about being a center, You don't necessarily have to be 6'6". You probably don't want to be 6'6" unless you can bend like incredibly. You've got to just be a tough football player who understands the game, who can fire off the ball, who's going to bring a nasty blow from start to finish. And, it's just, it takes a special player. Carsen Hinzman, he's a perfect example of a center. He's starting at Ohio State already, Wisconsin kid. It's a lot of the time it's going to be your best athlete that doesn't always necessarily have to have the true left tackle size or you got to have a lot of God-given gifts, but it's more of being a grinder and a tough guy in the trenches. I love center play. Those guys are special players. They really are.
Yeah, especially when you talk about having to adjust protections on the fly. A lot of the times that when they're, seeing things that the other lineman may or may not be seeing. So, I have a soft spot for centers as well. Who's the best center you've seen in college football ever in your 25, 30 years of 30 plus years, I should say, watching college football?
Yeah, I go back to those really good Colorado teams when they were running those zone schemes. I can't remember who the center was, but those guys were really, really good. That is a hard one. I mean, I've been around some really good ones, and they're always nasty. Like, Donovan Raiola was a really good center. His cousin, Olin Kreutz, beast of a center. That dude, you talk about a center, smart guy, toughest dude. Like, if you're walking into an alley or a bar fight, like, you want Olin there with you. You got to have a little crazy to you. Got to be smart. You got to be. But those are some. There's a lot of good centers, and the good centers, it's kind of almost like kickers or quarterbacks. Those guys can last a very long time because they make it in the league, not just because of their physical skill set, but because they understand the game better than those around them. It's like, it can be like having an extra quarterback. You look at Jeff Saturday, dude had never coached, college or NFL. All of a sudden he's a head coach in the NFL. And that says a lot. And those are the type of players that really, really succeed playing center, I guess. There's a lot of good ones, but the tough guys who've got a screw loose that still understand the game and are very athletic. So it's a very specific skill set for sure.
You took mine with Olin Kreutz. So that was a good one. We have another question from the Den from Bob UW68 wants to know, even though it's not a recruiting question, they want Clint's opinion on the game and the effect. Like, how much does a game like last week affect this week? On the road, lack of concentration, significant injuries. They're saying, I know Indiana sucks, but they score a lot of points and we may or may not be significantly focused. So what are your thoughts sort of just on coming off of a game like that, which you played in many times? I've been around many times. How do you sort of make sure that Ohio State doesn't beat you twice?
It's a mental game right now. You're in the dog days of summer of the season. You're tired, you're hurt, you're beat up, you're feeling sorry for yourself. You feel like you could have, you were just a couple plays away against maybe the top team in the country. So what you have to do as a coaching staff is say, the world's against us. You convince them that, you're beat down, but you've got more in you. Everybody thinks you suck. You can't feel sorry for yourselves right now. This is when you make a statement. It's really a mental game right now. They're going to have a talent advantage regardless of injuries. Now, depth is hard. Experience is hard to make up for. That is. But it is a mental game this week. You've got to convince them that everybody's against them, and it's just you guys in the bunker together, and you're going down, and you're not going to take any crap. And it's against Indiana, and it might be a game that's hard to get up for, but it's almost the type of game that you want to go into because you're also telling them, guys, you got to prove that you're better than them. They're not going to just walk in and lay down. And you're going on the road to an environment that isn't going to be very hostile. You're going to have to bring your own juice to this game. So this is a statement week. I don't care what the spread is. I don't care how good you're supposed to be. I don't care how much success you've had and Indiana hasn't had. You are coming to play. You're coming to make a statement, and we're going to erase all of what happened to us. We're not going to feel sorry for ourselves, and we're going to play our butts off. And there's going to be opportunity for people to prove that they're capable of playing. Guys are hurt. Guys are beat up. Who's the next man up? Do you want an opportunity? Do you want to play? Do you want to get your chance? Like, step in there and take advantage of it. extra focused this week, paying attention to details, control what you can control. And that's what it's all about. It's a mental game this week. Wisconsin should win this game, and they got to be prepared. And new staff, everybody's getting used to each other. You just convince them that this is the time where we group together. This is our family. We're going on the road. We're going to bring it, and we're not going to feel bad for ourselves. The record's what it is. The injuries are what they are. Let's control what we can control, and that's our attitude and our effort and how we bring it on Saturday. And really, there's going to be a pendulum. There's going to be times. Not everything's going to go perfect the entire game. Wait for it to swing back in your favor, but don't wave the white flag when it swings out of your favor. You just got to keep coming every single play, and that's what I'm telling the team all week. It is what it is. Let's get after it. I don't want to hear excuses. We're in this together. We're going to go, and it's a dogfight. So that's just me, though.
Yeah, it's going to be – I'm really interesting to see how this team responds this week at Indiana on the road. Because like you said, like the atmosphere might be dead. And it might be really hard. It might be really hard to get up for that when you're in it's a murmur, not a roar in the stadium.
Yeah.
So it definitely can be harder to, get your mind right and set for that game. One thing I want to talk about.
More worried, Kirko. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'd almost be more worried had they beat Ohio State. Now they've got something to prove. You beat Ohio State, You're feeling good about yourselves. You're like, oh, we got this. They're gonna lay down. We're gonna roll over them. This is where you find your fight or flight. If this team fights, I think that's something to be said. And it says a lot about the preparation going into it. So sorry to cut you off, but.
Oh, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. One of the biggest stories in college football right now is Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan cheating scandal, and everything going around there, whether or not Connor Stalions was on the Central Michigan sideline. He can't even put on a Groucho Marx face or something like that. Has to be wearing that, just standing out. This has been reverberating across the college football landscape. And I wanted to ask you, Clint, how recruits that you've talked to have, or what they've been saying about this, or if they've even been saying anything about this. If this is even on their radar, especially for kids who are committed to Michigan, if there are going to be, potential sanctions coming down the line.
Yeah. I think I've gotten some flack because it seems like I'm defending Michigan. I in no way think that they've been playing it by the book. Like there's obviously stuff going on. It just it has bugged me when people like point out to one thing and they're like, oh, that proves it. And I'm like, that happens in every single game. Like I tweeted about, and then I added in Fact or Fiction this week saying that I think that Harbaugh will end up in the NFL next year, more so because he's had success and wanted to go than anything else, because I'm not sure if they're going to push him out. It's a weird thing, but the crazy thing when it comes to the recruiting, and this is where I got to give them credit, everything you would think would be falling apart right now. They have done a remarkable job of holding things together, staying undefeated. Now, this could all unwind, obviously, but the recruits, even to the recruits, they don't seem fazed. They're like, it's something they're aware of. It's something they're monitoring, but they say, the guys that I've talked to at least, are like, I'm going to pay attention to it. And if something comes from it, yeah, but I'm locked in with Michigan right now. And I'm shocked that there isn't more. I think people are kind of taking the wait and see approach. And I think this will get revisited if Harbaugh does go to the NFL or there are sanctions. But right now, like, it's not affecting them on the road. Now, they're going to get hammered when it comes to negative recruiting down the stretch. I know they are. These coaches, especially ones that are desperate or really want a kid or have a relationship, they're going to be like, hey, they're going to drop a little hints, little questions. Be like, yeah, imagine if you got there and all of a sudden they can't go to a bowl, or, where's your coach going to be next year? I mean, like, this is what's going to happen. So they're going to have to weather that storm. There could be some late defections, but I'm actually kind of weirdly impressed by their ability to, like, it's almost like, it's crazy. They've just held it together, and the message across the board, it seems, even from the recruits. Now, I think parents might step in and get involved if things get, a little more out of hand, and as more stuff comes out, because more stuff is coming out by the day, and it's not just about football. But right now it hasn't made a major impact, believe it or not. Like I've yet to talk to a kid, and the Michigan commits, they're usually pretty locked in and they don't talk a lot. I have a feeling that's being coached into them, but they've been all positive. Every guy that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, I'm going to pay attention to it. My family's paying attention to it, but right now I plan on signing and enrolling early even. So.
Well, there you go. Anything else on your mind from the trail on Michigan in college football recruiting in general? Any update on has Carsen gotten any more offers since that Mizzou offer last week?
Yeah, no. He's got like 3 of his top 5 or 4. I can't remember. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Missouri. But that's it. Waiting for some more to come in.
Interesting. I'm surprised Nebraska hasn't come in yet with an offer.
Yeah, they're not big fans of the Cosgrove, so yeah, we'll see how that happens. But yeah, no, it's his commitment day. Was it 2051? Yeah,
2041. 2041.
Yeah, 2041. November 26th, 2041. Will be the announcement day for young Carsen Conway. So, yeah, we'll see how that rolls. We'll see if there's even college football by then.
I certainly hope that there is, and I certainly hope, Clint, that you and I are still doing a show in some way, shape, or form in 2041. That would be amazing. And I mean, one thing I do know, though, is we'll be back doing a show here again next week on Badger Blitz TV. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe here to the YouTube page, rate, review, all that good stuff. Get over on BadgerBlitz.com. Check in with us on the message boards. Till next time, he's Clint Cosgrove. I'm Matt Perkins, and we'll see you in the den.
In the den.